This is Christian Gomez with the New American Magazine, and today we'll be discussing the Born Alive Act bill as it's going through the legislature of the state of Oregon. And today we have with us as a guest Heather Hobbs, pro-life speaker with Save the One. Heather, thank you for joining us today on the program.
Hi, Christian. Thanks for having me today.
So I hear that a few days ago you were at the state capitol. What can you tell us about this bill and the progress that's being made to get it advanced in the legislature there in Oregon?
So, with this bill, as you know, it's protecting children who survive a failed abortion. And the way that it protects them is it prevents them, once they are outside of the womb, outside of the woman's body, should they still be alive, by law, they now would have to treat them as an individual patient with human rights and do what they would do with any other patient and give them life-saving medical care. As of now, they currently have what's comfort care and also what they call completing the abortion. And the comfort care means that they simply put them off to the side, whether they're injured from the abortion so that they could bleed to death, or if they are struggling to breathe, they'll leave them off not able to breathe, so they would then suffocate to death. Or, should those other two things not occur and they're just a healthy baby, they would then just leave them there wrapped in a blanket to die, whether it be starvation, dehydration, etc. And that's currently what's happening. And as you know, Oregon is a full-term abortion state. What that means is the older and bigger these babies get in the womb, the higher the odds of them surviving a failed abortion. So when you have those odds kind of stacked up, they now can survive. We need laws like this to protect children, especially in full-term abortion states like Oregon or New York. And if you guys ever seen Claire Colwell's story, she is a friend of mine, and she's an abortion survivor, a twin abortion survivor, and she's a healthy young woman who lives in Texas. So these stories are happening. Many people often believe that it's not true, it doesn't happen, but it happens in these full-term abortion states.
So right now, Oregon has no such protections for those children, and this bill would provide those protections which currently don't exist in Oregon.
That is correct. And if you've paid attention to the news on a federal level, they've tried getting this passed up at the top as well, and the Democrats keep shooting it down. And so the reason, my purpose at the Capitol of Oregon in Salem was to kind of go to both sides, conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, didn't matter who they were. I was going to them with the notion that this is now someone that has their, they're outside of the womb, they're outside of another woman, or outside of a woman's body, and if they are alive, that is, by their definition, a person. Because what I find most Democrats say is, as long as the baby's inside of the mother, they don't deserve human rights. They don't think that they're a person at that point. So I had hoped that maybe if I went through and, took some of the politicians' own words and used them against them in that sense, like you said this. For example, I had a politician, her name was Sarah Gelser, and she says she really cares about children with disabilities and helps a lot of with disabilities. So I expressed to her that a lot of late-term abortions, they're targeting children with disabilities. So they'll say, oh, well, even though you're 32 weeks, we just found this diagnosis, your baby's going to be severely disabled. And at that point in Oregon, it's quite often that they'll recommend they be aborted. And so I was explaining to her, by your definition, this is a person with human rights who is disabled. Do you think that this baby doesn't follow under the ADA guidelines, that we need to treat them equally to any other baby? And so I kind of went through each Democrat and Republican, looked at different speeches that they've done, and I tried to find what was applicable to petition to them so everybody can come together. I believe no matter what party you are on, you should be able to support this law or bill being put in place.
So what was the sense you got back from the Democratic lawmakers like the one you described meeting with who supports protecting individuals that are disabled? How was their sort of reaction when you sort of took their words about protecting the disabled individuals and using that to advance the protection of a born disabled child?
The feedback in general for Democrats, they were nodding along and in agreement with what I was saying, but towards the end, most of them gave me the whole, I really have to go review it further and see what it actually says before I can discuss more on it. So, and I went to someone named Janelle Bynum. She's a Democrat, and she has 4 children. She is considered more of a conservative Democrat, according to some of the other Democrats. And so I went to her as a mother and said, hey, I have 4 children. You have 4 children. We know how beautiful and amazing a newborn baby is. This is a newborn baby. And, I was able to at least get acknowledgement from every Democrat that I spoke with that, yes, this is a person we're talking about.
So politically speaking, in regards to the demographics of the legislature with Democrats and Republicans, how does the Oregon legislature look in terms of this bill passing? I imagine most Democrats receiving funding from Planned Parenthood Action are going to oppose this bill on that basis alone, sadly. Hopefully some Democrats may turn on this issue, and your appeal as a mother will have gotten to the hearts of some of those lawmakers. But overall, how does it look like the chances of this Born Alive bill passing in either the Oregon House or Senate? Is it steeped in favor of the Democrats there?
So I was told by Executive Director of Oregon Right to Life, Lois Anderson, and their lobbyist, Jessica Stanton, that every Democrat is endorsed by Planned Parenthood here in the state. So you now have absolutely all of the Democrats that are representing Planned Parenthood in a sense. So they were very, I guess, sadly pessimistic that even though this is presented and it has many Republican sponsors, so not just one, many, they don't think it's going to go through. And I said, well, I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and just try. So what we had was a lobby day. We had, I believe, 100 or 200 people all going, in favor of this bill. And this included some Democratic people as well. So it wasn't just conservatives or Republicans at this lobby day saying we want Born Alive Act. This is with Democrats who truly believe the stance that a baby is a baby once born. And so they were also going around and petitioning on behalf of this bill. And so I believe that this is the perfect middle ground, so to speak, to bring people together from both sides, because at minimum, we can all agree that children deserve to be protected, especially after a failed abortion.
Absolutely. Just one final question. What can those watching that live in the state of Oregon do to help advance these Born Alive bills in the Oregon legislature? Any recommendations for our viewers in Oregon?
Yes, contact your legislators. Also, if you would like, I have a list here of all of the people who sponsored the bill. If you can write them a thank you letter of encouragement, I think it'll go a long way in their persistence in fighting this and coming together to bring more politicians together. So if you could write them a letter thanking them, and then also contacting your local area legislators and letting them know that you want this passed in our state.
Thank you for joining us today, Heather, and God bless you. And for those of you watching out there, be sure to follow us on thenewamerican.com and also on our YouTube channel here. If you have not done so already, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.